Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we are talking about long distance relationship or long distance marriage. You know, it's very simple to say my husband lives in the United States or Canada or London and the wife is living in Nigeria or in Africa or in another continent. That marriage is not going to be easy. You know, it will cause the man or the woman to be living like a single person again. In some cases, you find them getting married all over again, but this time illegally. What I mean by that is, you see the man who lives in Canada or in America or wherever, living with another woman there, but they are not legally married. While his legally married woman or his wife that he married legally is somewhere in Nigeria, somewhere in Africa, maybe Ghana, Gambia, Mozambique, and he has not set his eye on his wife for over 8-10 years. You can imagine how the state that marriage will now be in. You can imagine the state of their relationship. You can imagine the kind of communication, the kind of emotional attachment that they now have as regards to marriage as an institution. So the premise of this video is to educate some people, you know, to guide you if you are planning on embarking on this journey of a long distance marriage or relationship. Also, I will give you one or two instances to make you understand what I'm trying to say. So, in a long distance relationship or marriage, let me use the word two things are involved. There are potentials, there are constraints. But I will start with the constraints today. I'm not going to start with the potentials. I'm talking about the advantages and the disadvantages. First, long distance relationship brings about loneliness. You know how you after having a long, hard day, coming back to the house, you come and meet an empty house. If you're a woman, I mean, you know how you're going to feel. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be funny. You expect, maybe like you open the door, you walk into the warm embrace of your husband, and the only thing you get is loneliness. You lay down on the bed at night to sleep only for you to be cuddling a pillow. You know, this will cause, it will bring sadness. The moment you become lonely, sadness sets in. You find yourself being unnecessarily angry. You find yourself thinking, your thoughts will start wallowing uncontrollably. And sometimes you start longing for a companion, you start longing for a friend to talk to. As your mind wallows, as you think, as your thought runs wild, jealousy comes in because you're married. You'll be like, now that you're lonely here, who knows if your husband or your partner is also lonely wherever he is. Maybe he is in the arms of another woman. A lot of things will be going on in your head. You will never be connected anymore. So you find out that where you're working, you can't even concentrate on your work. So as you get jealous, your mind will start telling you, maybe this guy is having a relationship wherever he is, because after not seeing your husband for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, I don't know what you want me to even tell you again, because A man will always be a man, and a woman will always be a woman. We all have needs as human beings. I'm not talking about material needs. I'm talking about emotional needs. I'm talking about your body telling you, man, woman, I mean, it's time for you to act like a human being. You know? So, from there, you will be like, or some friends, you can confide in a friend and she or he will be like, you can't continue like this. Since this guy is not coming around, you don't know when he will come back, you don't know when you will see him again. Why don't you, look for someone to take care of you, look for someone you can talk to, look for someone that can take you out for a dinner. By so doing, you may resort to calling up an ex. You will see, infidelity is coming around. Temptation is around the corner, knocking. If it's someone who is not with a strong will, the man or the woman, will fall for the temptation. You see a woman having children for another man in her husband's home. But before I get to that, the absence or the distance that exists between a man and a woman, a husband and wife, brings a problem in the home. This problem is the children, if they have any, will grow up in the absence of their dad, because most of the time it's the dad that is not always around. Because if this man comes home, gets this woman pregnant, and travels back for, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and he doesn't come back to see his family again, he only calls on phone then, and he doesn't see his children, he doesn't give them this fatherly guidance. And kids, if they are with their mother alone, you know how they behave. The child might grow up to become what nobody envisaged. So back to what I was saying before. We have had stories of women, after a man must have trained a child for, say, 20 years, 20-something years, and he now discovers that this child that has called him father from the day one is not his, through a DNA test. This shatters a man's life. This takes a man's life down the drain. And I can't imagine how any human being can cope with that. So one of the causes is the absence of either the wife or the husband in a marriage. Because when you are married, the word of God told us that a man and a woman comes together to become one. So marriage is not meant to be separated. You are not supposed to be living in Manfe while your wife is living at the other end of the world. Both of you are supposed to be together. So when this distraction comes, there is jealousy, there is sadness, there is loneliness. Infidelity comes. The woman starts seeing another man, or the man starts seeing another woman. In the process, a child may be born. Someone said that when loneliness, when it becomes unbearable, that the woman or the man should take the next available flight or bus and, get to the destination, get to the location of the husband. So if your husband is in USA, for example, and the wife is in Nigeria, she will need a visa to visit the husband. And you know how easy it is today for one to secure a visa. So what is she gonna do? And the man doesn't even have documents to travel down to Nigeria from US to see his family. So what will this woman do? Sometimes I don't really blame them that much. I'm not saying maybe like the ones that deviate, what they are doing is right. I don't blame them that much. But in a circumstance like this, what do you expect that woman to do? Because if it's a woman that hasn't started, that hasn't tested this fruit, it's a different ball game. But the moment you start eating, it's easy for you to abstain. It's not easy for you to abstain. Another thing is, when you are in a long distance marriage, you find out that it puts more pressure on your finance. Because now it's like you have a dual home where your family is living or where they are staying, and where you are staying as well. You have to pay double rent, double feeding. It's light bill, electricity bill, telephone bill, if it's internet, everything will become double. You also need to make phone calls because you need to be on phone at least 3 or 4 times a day for it to look like there is communication between the two of you. So if you are in a long distance relationship or marriage, you will also need to deal with rumors, because there are rumor mongers everywhere. People will come to tell you, oh boy, e be like saying na your wife I see for one eatery the other day with a handsome dude. So these are the things that you have to deal with. And if you're a woman, you know that women gossip a lot. I'm sorry, women, it's not only you, men also gossip. So someone will come to you and say, Madam, I think I saw your husband with a young girl in so and so hotel. Or maybe someone will tell you or ask you, Ma'am, don't you think your husband is married to one white woman wherever he is? These are the rumors you have to deal with. You need to really control your mind, control your ears and your head for your marriage to succeed. And if care is not taken, distance in marriage causes the marriage to crash if that distance is not well managed. It's not only the disadvantages that we discover in long distance marriages or relationships. There are still potentials. One of the potentials here is it strengthens the trust in the relationship. Because if you trust your wife or you trust your husband, if he's not there, your mind will be at rest. When you go to bed, you sleep. You won't start thinking maybe, who knows if he's with one woman somewhere? Who knows if he's with so and so friend? No, your mind will never go there. This thing is applicable to both the man and the woman. It also helps you to control, if you are the jealous type, it helps you to control jealousy. You will be in control of your mind. You can guide your mind never to go towards the direction of, igniting or stirring up jealousy in you. And it also makes you cherish the time spent with your spouse, with your husband or with your wife. Each time you remember when he was around, or each time you remember when she was around, your mind will be filled with joy. You will know that, so this woman is this important to me, or so important in my life that I miss her this much. And the same thing applies to the woman. She will discover how important her husband is in her life. It increases the strength, or it strengthens your communication, your level of communication, because that distance will force you to always be on the phone with your wife or with your husband. You'll be burning data, you'll be subscribing, you'll be burning data to make sure that both of you are in touch with each other. If it's in a healthy marriage, the absence will not be felt much. It will look like both of you are still together, because wherever the man goes, the wife knows. Wherever the wife goes, the man knows. So if you are preparing to go into a long distance marriage or relationship, I want you to really sit down, think, ask yourself questions, are you sure you can be able to deal with all this? Because I know there are people who got married and after maybe 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, the woman couldn't wait any longer, or couldn't bear it any longer, and she just, she just threw in the towel, looked elsewhere, told the man or his people that, man, I can't continue like this, I gotta go, and she left. She used the door, found someone, get married and settle down. So do you want that to be your case? I want you people to comment, and I want you to drop a comment to let me know if you've gone through this before, if you know someone who's been through this before, or what you think you can do if you are in a situation like this. But my advice to the single ones is, if you are living abroad, my brother or my sister, if you're living abroad, if you want to get married, if you feel you're ripe for marriage, please look for someone who is there with, who understands the system, and get married to. Because if you are abroad and you get married to someone who is in Africa and you left her there for a decade, it's as if you're punishing her, and you don't expect her to be the same woman that you married either before you left, or you saw her on the internet and you married her, and you know quite well that you cannot travel down to go and see her. It's a punishment, it's a bondage, it's like keeping someone in captivity. So my advice to you is, please, wherever you are, that place that you reside, get married to someone there, so that your family will be together. You will be with your children, you play with them. Your kids don't really need to see you on the phone. They don't need to be on a video call with you. They need to talk to you, touch you, feel you. That is how it's supposed to be. And marriage is not all about breeding kids. Maybe like you travel home for a month, for 2 weeks. In the long run, you get your wife pregnant, off you go. No, that is not marriage. So I want you to have this at the back of your mind. Ask yourself, can you go through the process of a long distance marriage? Can you handle what long distance marriage entails? Can you be able to cope with the constraints that is attached to a long distance relationship? That's the question of today. So leave a comment in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe, and share to your friends and families. This is Syke from Syke Medias. Catch you in the next one. Peace and love.